back to my channel. So today I'm going to be doing a lot of confession. Okay, well, I'm not going to spill everything, but I'm going to be talking about my experience, since I've been here, what I've experienced, being black in Ukraine, and yeah, basically about my whole life here. So I'm going to try my best to make sure that this video, is quite short and very brief. Trust me, there's a whole lot of things to talk about. By the way, guys, in case you don't know where Ukraine is in the eastern part of Europe, so it's in Europe, okay? To all you wolves out there, this is a disclaimer, okay? Before you come and chop me raw, eat me raw. This video is just about my experiences. No hate, it's all about love for the Ukrainian people, okay? And love for the country as well. Just my experiences. So let's get started. Now, the first thing that people always ask me, why are you in Ukraine? I actually came here to study. So I'm currently in medical school. The first thing I'm going to talk about is, my life here, like lifestyle here. And cost of living in Ukraine and stuff like that. When it comes to living in Ukraine, when I first came here, I actually hated this place. Like, to me, I did not feel like I was abroad. Now, I don't know about any other person, and it's not like I've been to so many countries in my life, but when I came here, I didn't feel like I was in Europe at all. But with time, I actually started, to see Ukraine in her glory, if you get what I mean. Talking about lifestyle, cost of living, and all of those stuff. For the cost of living, for those of you that might want to come to Ukraine to study, because if you're planning on actually moving to Ukraine, to settle down, I would advise you as a foreigner to do this because, number one, foreigners are not allowed to work here. Now, if you come as an international student or, as a foreigner to visit or whatever, you're not allowed to work. So there's no way you could actually leave your country and come here, looking for greener pastures, because trust me, no offense, it's just a waste of time. I think you can actually open up your business, but you cannot be employed here. The cost of living is actually very high. Compared to back home, things in this country are like quite pricey. Like, for example, when we spend here, we obviously spend in Ukrainian currency, which is grivnas or grivin. So by the time you do all the conversions, you actually find out that what you actually spend here is actually, quite an amount of money back home. So that's why I'm actually saying that. So for the weather here, it gets really cold during the winter, and during the summer, it's like ridiculously hot. No, they're more like extremists. During winter, this is what you need. A lot of people ask me, is there racism in Ukraine? Of course, there's racism everywhere, not just Ukraine. And the thing is, it's not that, every Tom, Dick, and Harry that you actually meet on the streets is a racist, okay? There are some people here that are actually civilized and actually very well enlightened to know that people with, darker skin tones are human beings and not animals. We're not, apes or monkeys. And then there are some people here that are so primitive that actually do not know that, just because my skin tone is darker than yours, makes me an animal. So, it's just, based on the mentality of the people here. So I wouldn't say that every Tom, Dick, and Harry here is actually a racist, like, oh, this person, blah, blah, blah. No. Like, for example, I've actually met so many nice people here, Ukrainians and Russians, because I'm actually in the city Kharkov, and there are lots of Russians here actually. There are some Ukrainian stroke Russians that are actually very nice people. So another thing that scares us, foreigners, is the annual meeting of the skinheads in Ukraine, in Kharkov. So I don't know, this happens, once a year, I think, but I don't think it happened this past year. I don't know if this is true, but you see messages on your phone like the skinheads at the Vokzal, they set a bomb, you see everybody running home, like, but I'll probably talk about this in another video. So as far as the language goes, the major thing is the language barrier. Obviously, English is not spoken in this country. The major language is either Ukrainian or Russian. And trust me, if you come to this country, you have to learn the language. Like, for you to even be treated well by, the citizens of this country, you have to learn their language, because I think they actually like you more when you can speak their language. They actually, even if, you cannot speak it fluently, you at least have to know basic words so that nobody's going to sell you. Or something like that. Okay, let's talk about beauty and fashion aspects, my fave. The beauty and fashion aspect of Ukraine. To me, I don't really buy, my clothes and a lot of things from here, because I feel like stores here, some of them are nice, but then when something comes into trend, like when something is in vogue, it doesn't come here like immediately. It takes time. So by the time it's getting here, like the other parts of the world have already, started rocking it, that kind of thing. So, like, and then You guys get my point. So I feel like they're very late when it comes to fashion. Maybe it's just me, but it's just what I've noticed. Like there are some things that will actually come into trend and you wouldn't actually find them in the stores here. The stores actually don't really carry, really large sizes. But the girls that have, the massive junk in the trunk, some of them might not actually find their sizes here. Okay, I think highest I've seen is extra, extra large. And trust me, even that extra, extra large, is not that large. Okay, as for the clothing aspect, a lot of people ask me if the clothes here are very pricey. I would say some stores are quite pricey and some are average. So I don't think there's any store here that is relatively very, very cheap. No, there's no store here that is relatively very, very cheap. Average price, they're just okay. But then obviously they do sales here. So obviously when they go on sale, you could actually afford some things from these stores. And then there are some stores too that, that are ridiculously pricey that even when they go on sale, you still wouldn't be able to afford anything from them. Beauty aspect, when it comes to buying your concealer and your, your foundation, things like that, you could never ever find, like for colored skin tone, they don't have that here. They only have, shades of concealers and, foundations, that are, Ukrainian skin tone friendly. Which really doesn't make that much sense to me because obviously it's a country, so that means you're going to have, immigrants, and obviously you're going to have foreigners living in your country. They do have some major makeup brands like Maybelline, L'Oreal, Marc Jacobs, they have Chanel, but then all of this stuff do not carry shades for women of color. And then obviously there are some other makeup brands, that you might want, but they do not have. But when it comes to, eye pencils, eyeshadows, other stuff about makeup, you would actually find them in abundance here. For our hair, our kinky hair. Now, I just want to put this out there, okay? Dear Ukrainians and Russians, please do not touch my hair. Like, it's already a problem when people touch your hair, but then when people are touching it like it's rocket science, like how is it so tightly coiled or whatever, it's wrong. Like they touch your hair a lot. Like if you're black, whenever I like let my hair out, like my fro and all, trying to look cool with my fro and all that, and then I get all the stares. Like people just keep staring at me like I'm some crazy kind of person. I remember this one time when I actually went somewhere. I went to Barbashoba, which is like a major market in this place, and I actually went there to change money, and then everybody there was just looking at me like, who is this girl? Like who? Like everybody was just staring at me. So I kept looking at myself like, oh my god, is something wrong with me? Like, did I? And then one brave lady, I would call her brave because I'm not, to me, I'm not the kind of person that, you could actually just come and approach just like that. I think to an extent, I have that defensive kind of face. But like this lady was actually, brave enough, and she came to me and then she's like, is this your real hair? And I'm like, yes. She just patted my hair like down the middle and was like trying to see if there were any extensions in, and I'm like, oh, hold up. Like, why would you do that? Like, and then everybody was just looking. She was like, no, it's a wig. She does not believe that it's my hair. Well, dear Ukrainians, okay, I'm African. It's not my fault that God gave me kinky hair. So I don't know why it's such a shocker. You don't see any of us, coming to touch your straight hair, parting your hair down the middle and coming to check, if you have any extensions. You don't see us coming to touch you guys and touch your lips, lip injections, lip fillers, whatever. I have nothing against that, but you don't see none of us, colored girls going to touch their lips and saying, what happened? Like, why are your lips big and things like that. Another thing in this country is the fact that they actually sexually idolize people of color. Not just us girls, they also sexually, not even idolize, they look at us as sexual images, which is very wrong. Like the Ukrainian girls at the black guys as sex objects because they believe that the black guys are endowed below the belt. And then for the guys as well, like what they do to us girls, you could be walking past on the road and a random guy could just tap your ass. Like I've actually seen a guy do this to one girl that was right in front of me, and we were at some bar, and then she walked like past the guy and his friends, and then one of them like just tapped her ass. And I just went up to him, I'm like, why did you do that? The point of the matter is, I told him never to do that again. But another thing is, they look at us, colored people, or should I say black people, they look at us as, all the same people. They think we all look alike. Please, I just want to set this straight. There is no resemblance, okay? There is none. And please, I do not look like the black girl next to me. We're all different people. We all have our different looks. About food, what most of us buy It's just rice, potatoes, and pasta. I don't really know much about the Ukrainian food. I know they have like the Ukrainian borscht and some other things, but you know, it's just mostly rice, pasta, and potatoes. Okay, so just get used to eating that. Okay, also, yeah, for you know, African food, thank god, like there's an African store. So you know, if at all you actually come here, you know, to study or whatever, and you're African, well, good news, there's an African store. Another question that most people always ask me is, do I have any white friends? Do I have any Oyibo friends? Unfortunately, I'm sorry, I don't really have Oyibo friends. Like, I don't have Ukrainian friends, but